Well, we got three big ones: Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland. Cleveland is in the northeast. Columbus is everybody wants to know. I've been lucky. We're trying to keep
Around on the gondola later.
That doesn't include you. You don't quite qualify.
Was blamed on a carpenter who worked on this island and brought it back to the mainland. The Austrians turned the building into a mental hospital for women, and until quite recently it still operated as a psychiatric hospital, the building you're seeing, the white building ahead. The other island of San Servolo, which is ahead on your left, a little bit further beyond San Clemente, you see a church tower up there. It shared these mental hospital functions from the 18th century until as late as 1978. From the 7th to the 17th centuries, Benedictine monks had a monastery here, parts of which still remain in the mental hospital. Now these islands are home to various cultural institutions. Behind that, looking in the distance, almost straight ahead, about 1 o'clock, you see a small island called San Lazaro. That became a place where people were taken when they got the plague. It was a place that people went to die.
Right up. That was where they went to die.
Voilà il vaporetto.
It needed to be ready in any situation for an emergency. So there was a fleet of at least 25 ships that were always ready to be kept to go sail from the inside of the dockyard on a moment's notice, either as a war fleet or as a merchant fleet if the opportunity arose. This was at the time the greatest shipyard in Europe.
In 1570, when requested to build as many ships as possible for an emergency fleet, the arsenal put out an amazing 100 galleys in just 2 months. All subsequent dockyards were named after it. Little wonder that it's such an impressive entrance with 4 stone lions. You will see in front of us the Grand Canal straight ahead. The Grand Canal is about 2 miles long and winds around like an inverted letter S. From San Marco to the Stazione Santa Lucia, It was and still is to some extent the Fifth Avenue of Venice. From the 14th to the 18th centuries, the richest families lived here and built their magnificent palaces. The Grand Canal really epitomizes the timeless elegance of Venice.
On a clear day from the top, the view is magnificent. You can see the Lido and the whole lagoon, and we're told that you can see the mainland as far as the Alps. Right in front of us is the Church of Santa Maria della Salute, which is another church that was built as thanks for salvation from the plague. It's easy to get to. You can walk across the Academia Bridge and go there, but every once in a while there's a pontoon bridge that's put across as a festival to walk across and take a look at the church and worship there in the continuation of the tradition of gratitude for being saved.
The building coming up on our right, at the point where the two canals merge, is the Punta del Dogana, the customs house. On the top you can see two bronze atlases bending beneath the weight of the world. Above them twists and turns the capricious Fortune, an elaborate weather vane.
At the time. The Senate appointed the most prominent architect of his time, Andrea Palladio, to design this church. And with its prominent position on the canal, Palladio had the opportunity to design a facade that was modeled after the Parthenon of Athens. 15 steps are required to reach the entrance, and this was a direct reference to the number of steps in the Temple of Jerusalem. Just a little further down, almost at the end of the Isola Giudecca, we're not quite there yet, but you'll see the Cipriani Hotel, which is considered to be one of the most exclusive hotels anywhere in the world today.
Ready to go in?
Anti-monastic orders, and so a lot of the churches and convents and monasteries were closed, and many were demolished as a result of Napoleon's rather brief stay here. The very large building on the, what's not on the port, it's going to be on the port as we go by it, it's really mostly straight ahead right now, is particularly interesting. This is the Hilton Molino Stuckey Hotel. And this was in its previous role.
Areas. So I will come on again once we have docked to give you information. And if anyone needs any information on how to speak Italian, let me know before you leave the ship. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, please take your passports ashore if you are not an EU resident. Also, if you are an EU resident, make sure you have a legal.
I'm just kidding. Just want to make sure we get a couple of guys with the tail.
Maybe I didn't delay that.